There are many aspects of professionalism when it comes to teacher preparation, such as professional approaches to coursework in courses like general education and teacher education.
General education courses. They should not be viewed as fillers or as experiences that must be endured until you can enroll in classes. Specifically designed for teacher preparation. Because teachers need to be informed, interested in interesting courses, enhance teacher preparation by providing a wide spectrum of information and skills that are fundamental for teachers and contribute to your status as a well-rounded adult. Teacher education courses. What you learn in education classes lays the groundwork for your professional life. This realization should inspire you to pay attention, complete all readings, participate in classwork, and keep up with assignments.
Very important for a teacher, not only knowing how to teach it, but having valid content knowledge. So if you're taking history classes, if you're taking science classes, that provides you with that strong foundation. So when you go into the classroom, kids will ask you all sorts of questions. And if you don't have foundational knowledge, you're going to be going, So, those non-education classes are very important to the process of teaching.
Okay, and then for elementary education majors especially, how do you think their schedule should be, structured when they make their class schedules and stuff?
When they make their class schedules? Well, one thing I think you need to make sure that you balance your schedule between things that you are strong in and things that you're not so strong in, so that overall throughout the semester, you do things that you like, and then you do the things that you don't necessarily are not strong in, and then over the course of the semester your GPA doesn't suffer. Okay, because you got to be careful and strategic about what classes you take. For example, you don't want to take modern geometry and statistics in the same semester unless you really like math. Okay, don't take English 201 or 202 and English 214 in the same semester, unless you really like literature. So you got to be able to balance your schedule and pay attention to, if you look at the way the curriculum is laid out, we tried to kind of do that. So that's why it's important.
Okay. And then in your class, what do you expect from your students?
It's interesting. In my class, I expect a couple things. I expect you to, number one, have fun, because we're learning how to use technology. So to me, that's exciting. But I guess to some people, it's not as exciting. Then you need to start to learn the teaching craft. Looking at your content, making sure that you're doing things in the correct method. Okay, making sure that your content is correct, paying attention to your grammar, paying attention to your writing. Things that are foundational to teaching. So that's in my class. That's. But I want you to have fun too. But we're gonna work.
Mm-hmm. And then, what is your personal teaching philosophy?
Oh wow. Okay. Personal teaching philosophy. Well, I like to try to show my students my zeal for learning and my zeal for learning different things, and hopefully that will translate into what I do in the class. I believe in reflection. I believe that you need to, at the end of teaching something, you need to sit back and look at what worked, what didn't work. I'm constantly doing that for my class, because to see, well, I guess they weren't quite as enthusiastic about it as I was. So you got to come up with different ways to do that. And then, I believe in providing assistance, but also holding students accountable, so that they can. I want you to succeed, but I'm not going to just give it to you. So, I guess that's what my teaching philosophy is. Okay, competent, caring, and reflective.
Hi.
Hello.
Aw, thank you. Have a seat. Kyle, Jalen. Jalen, Kyle. Jalen, you play nice. I'll be right back.
What's going on, little man? I see you got your game skills down, Pack. You might have your hands full once I'll pick up the controller, little man.
Put it back. Keep your hands on my mama. Keep your hands on my Doritos.
Jalen, are you playing nice?
We asked Dr. Smith, a professor here at VSU, a few questions on how her class prepares students for the future. She says, if you are going to teach, you need to have an understanding of those you intend to influence. Human growth and development provides the foundation of understanding the different stages of development. You can't consider to be an effective teacher without this knowledge. A learning approach and strategy for teaching a preschool student is definitely going to be different from teaching an adolescent. Information obtained in this course aid in guiding learning experiences.
In terms for her expectations from the class, she says, I expect my students to be fully engaged in the learning process. That means to come to the class ready to participate in class discussions. I expect them to ask necessary questions for further understanding of concepts. I want them to turn in all assignments when they are due and to be prepared for exams. The definition of philosophy is the study of fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, especially when considered as an academic discipline. When we interviewed Dr. Smith for her teaching philosophy, she said, my teaching philosophy is to provide ample opportunities for students to demonstrate who they are as learners. For example, I realize that not every student is a good test taker, so I give exams, but also rely on projects, labs, and presentations to evaluate students' performance. Each student is an individual, with skills, knowledge, and abilities that I try to tap into during a semester. Finding the means of these assessments seems fair to me in determining the final outcome.
What you're about to teach. Is there vocabulary they need to know?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
start by asking them like, what's their favorite
Not
animal?
ask. Not ask. Okay?
Describe.
Technology.
Oh,
Technology. Right?
can't that be the movie thing that we did too?
That could be part of it. Your movie could be part of it, and then they would possibly, go on and choose their favorite animal. Go on their computer and Google search to get a picture of their favorite animal, or find some facts about their favorite animal. Okay? All right, so we can do that. Are you ready to interview? What do you need to know?
So, how would you say that the teacher observation field experience prepares us for real-life classroom situations?
Well, you need to have experiences where you're able to practice what you learn in the classroom, in the content, and so field experiences gives you the opportunity to practice being a teacher. You may not have full control of the class, but those field experiences gives you the opportunity to work with students. It gives you the opportunity to teach lessons, to prepare lesson plans, to observe the things that you like and don't like in a classroom. And so it gives you that perspective of how would you run your classroom when you actually become a teacher. So field experiences give you that hands-on the job training.
And for the teacher preparation portfolio, how do you think that prepares us? What do you think that does for us as a student trying to become a teacher?
Well, you have to have a portfolio usually when you go to a job interview. So if you start that portfolio while you're in college and you collect things like your philosophy of teaching, your classroom management plan, sample lessons, activities that you participated in, and a copy of your resume, then when you go to an interview, you'll have those things that school principals like to see when they're doing an interview, to see if you're involved, to see what type of activities you participated in, to see what your philosophy on teaching is. And so we help you develop that portfolio so that you can build upon it before you graduate. And so in student teaching, you actually have to turn in a portfolio for your grade. And so it's good to go ahead and start creating that portfolio so that you'll be on your way when it's time for student teaching.
And one more question. What is your teaching philosophy?
I believe that all students can learn. I believe that you have to have kinesthetic activities in your lessons. They need to be innovative. They need to include the students and their type of learning styles in your activities that you do with your class. I believe that there is something special in every student, and you just have to, as a teacher, find out what that is and bring it out of them. And so I just believe all students can learn. I've never had a student where I felt, you know what, this one right here, it's a lost cause. I just don't believe in that. I believe all students can learn, and you just have to find that niche or that role that you play in helping them learn the best that they can.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So as a student teacher, what were you most prepared to do?
Oh, that was a long time ago. As a student teacher, I was most prepared to deliver the content. I majored in math, so I understood math quite well. So I was ready to teach students. So I felt comfortable with the content, and I felt comfortable that I understood mathematics. So that was what I felt most comfortable about in beginning, the student teaching experience.
Okay. What did you feel like least prepared to do?
Well, managing the students. I didn't think that we had enough training, coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not even coming out of college, but during that particular point, to be able to understand how to manage the students' behavior in the classroom.
New teachers feel most prepared to create collaborative classroom environments, teach all students, develop curriculum that builds on student interests and needs, understand how students develop influences learning, relate classroom experiences to the real world. New teachers feel least prepared to address learning needs of English language learners, work with families, develop interdisciplinary curriculum, address special learning needs, assume leadership.
Here's a quick overview of what we discussed. We went over professional approaches to coursework, like general education courses that should be taken seriously and not just viewed as fillers to just fill up your schedule and give you extra credit hours. We went over teacher education courses that lay groundwork for your professional life to make sure that teaching is something that you actually want to do. We went over professional approaches to field experience, and we talked to Dr. Smith in Human Growth and Development, and she gave us insight on how she believes her class helps us in a teaching career in the future. And we also went over a survey of new teachers and how prepared they felt to do things and how unprepared they felt.
We also did a brief interview with Dr. Claiborne for early field experiences and how she felt that helped us prepare us for the teaching world before we actually become teachers. We also interviewed Dr. Melvin about student teachers and his past experience of how he was when he was student teaching. Then we interviewed Dr. Blackwell for Problems in the Real Classroom. He gave us a brief scenario, and he also gave us a very real-life visual. Dr. Claiborne also gave us a teacher preparation portfolio interview of how it prepares us in the real world to be organized and how to prepare ourselves.